South Korean Parliament has passed a landmark ban on the production and sale of dog meat. Although the amount of dog meat consumers in South Korea is exceedingly small, the ancient practice has been heavily criticized by foreign media outlets and animal rights advocates. In recent years, the South Korean youth also joined in the movement to ban the practice.
Yes, the South Korean Parliament heeded their calls on Tuesday, January the 9th, and the new bill will make slaughtering, breeding, and selling dog meat for human consumption illegal starting 2027. Offenders may also be imprisoned for 2 to 3 years.
The National Assembly passed the bill by a 208-0 vote. It is set to become law after being endorsed by the Cabinet Council and signed by President Yoon Suk-yeol. And to know more about this growing story in South Korea, we are now connected with our Korean contributor, Kim Si-young, in Seoul. All right, 안녕하세요. Sean, can you tell us more about detail about the ban and what made the government pass it?
Of course, the bill which bans, as you said, the breeding, butchering, distributing and selling of dogs for meat passed through the parliament with 208 votes in favor and 2 abstentions. So the ruling People Power Party and the main opposition Democratic Party have actually jointly pushed for the ban amid growing awareness of animal rights and increasing number of pet owners in South Korea. And so it was quite interesting because of the PPP and the Democratic Party was actually clashing in a lot of different legislations, passing different laws and things like that. But for this case of the dog meat trade ban, they've got gathered together to actually ensure the passing of the law. So as you said, the bill calls for provide subsidies to help people in the dog meat industry move on to another sector or switch jobs, as well as when the law enforcement will begin in 2027 after the 3-year grace period, and the violators then could actually face a maximum of 2 years in prison or fine up to 30 million won, which is around 22 to 30,000 US dollars.
Yeah. Hey Sean, it's Indra here. So some certain food in Korea use dog meat like the boshingtan. Can you tell us more about the history of dog meat consumption in Korea and what will happen after the ban?
So yeah, it's actually quite common to see dog meat places in South Korea. Even in Seoul, you'll sometimes be able to see certain shops restaurants selling boshintang, as well as they change the name nowadays to things like sacheoltang to be less inconspicuous because of this growing support for animals, especially pets such as dogs and cats. So you do see some of them, but a lot of them have disappeared from the public's eyes in recent days. Past 10-20 years, you see a lot less of these restaurants in the city center. Most of them will be placed outside the city in sort of more near farms and marketplaces and things like that. South Korea currently actually has a very lack of protection. We do have a huge protection for the pet industry as well. So historically, South Korea actually was suffering from a lack of foods, especially in the meats. So back in the 19th century, especially, there was a certain ban on butcheries, actually, from killing more than 1 cow a day, things like that, which actually led to the increased consumption of dog meat in the past of South Korea. The Confucian ideology also supports consumption of dog meat as well. I think that's why a lot of the cases in history of South Korea, we have seen consumption of dog meat.
Sean, the ban is coming to effect in 2027. That means that it's 3 years from now. So we assume that there's still going to be some dog meat consumption within the next 3 years. So how did the public and animal lovers react to this development?
So right now, actually, about 30% of South Koreans actually own a pet. And I think around 75% of those 30% owns a dog. So most of the population loves dogs. We see the President Yoon Suk-yeol, who owns 6 dogs, as well with And you see in public, people walking dogs all the time. Pet shops, pet industry is huge in South Korea, and animal rights activists actually have been asking for the banning of dog meat for almost a decade. And in the past, we did see Korea suffered from poverty and things like that straight after the Korean War, which actually meant that there was a lack of animal rights protection. But in the past 20, 30 years, we've seen such an increase of support for pets and things like that. And according to government statistics, right now there's around over 1,000 dog farms, 34 butchering businesses, and around 220 distributors, and around just less than 2,000 restaurants that sell food made with dog meat in South Korea. Those will gradually decrease, those will see disappearance over the time, and the public right now are very supportive. We're getting a lot of attention from the international media as well regarding the banning of the dog meat trade, and it's a positive environment, positive vibe all around for South Koreans regarding the banning of dog meat trade.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that report, Sean. That was Kim Si-young, or Sean Kim, reporting live from Seoul, South Korea.